Greetings, fellow songwriters and seekers, and welcome back to Muse Measure. If you haven't done so yet, hit that guy on the lotus petal down below. Subscribe to benefit from all these wonderful questions, to hone your songwriting skill, and to get into the introspective nature of great songwriting and learning about ourselves and learning about the art of songwriting in the process. And today's question is perfect for this and perfect for the channel in that way. This comes from Maya Kapoor in London, UK. I love London. I was there last summer. Visited the Tate Britain and saw all the great William Blake paintings there. Do you think songs can reveal something about the songwriter that the songwriter themselves doesn't yet understand? Absolutely. And I think when you don't do that, you've got a song finished and there's not something that reveals itself to you through the song about yourself and about your psychology, then I think the song has failed in some ways to serve its purpose. You may be playing it a little too safe. And I always have this kind of saying that I feel like if I'm not slightly embarrassed by the song in some way, then I've failed. Because, if we're really being truthful and honest in our songs, we are exploring our ego, we're exploring our trauma, we're exploring all the dissatisfaction and samsaric mindsets that are constantly streaming through our discursive mind. And if you're laying that bare in your song, then something's going to be revealed. Maybe something you didn't know about yourself. And that's hopefully what's going to happen. Now, there's one song that I know I've played for you guys before, but it's the song that came to mind when this question came up. It's called Not For A While Anyways. And this song has kind of haunted me for the last 10 years. It was, I wrote it about maybe more than 10 years. I wrote it in like 2011. And it's about drinking. I was drinking a lot at the time. But I've tried to record it numerous times. It was supposed to be on my album Existential Hymns, but the recording just didn't, pass muster. So it got cut from the album. I'm happy to say we're going to try again with this album we're recording out in Boulder, Colorado this summer at Octave Records. So hopefully we'll get it right this time and be able to put it out. There is a YouTube video on my other channel of it, which is a live performance done in Minneapolis, which I'm really happy with. I love the groove and the feel of that one. I want to capture that same kind of live sense when I re-record it. You can check that out. I'll put the link down below to that one. But it's just like an AI flip book. The visuals are just there to keep you engaged. But it's really about the song. Okay? So it's called Not For A While Anyways. I'll just play the first verse of it and then talk about what it revealed to me. Back down in the alley, looking for a time, I found a lover who became a friend of mine. You come, you go, if things get heavy, you just let go. A man is made by tears he keeps, and if I could, I would weep. Another drink, another dram, another love slipped through my hands. Well, sometimes it's hard to say the things I need to say, but I don't want to lose you. Not for a while anyway. Okay, so that's the first verse of that song. If you want to hear the rest of the song, I'll put the link down below. So why this is an example of a song revealing something that I didn't know? Well, basically, it's at the time I didn't really realize it, that alcohol and my heavy drinking was really causing all these problems in my life. And I would just chalk it up to like, oh, well, just people are weird and they don't, they just start ghosting you, which is just to say that, that can happen, even in your sober life. I've been sober now for almost 10 years, and, people can act that way. But a lot of my relationships were just kind of starting to dissolve at this time. And I was dating this woman at the time and had a strong love for her. And she just couldn't put up with my drinking. And through this song, it was revealed that, instead of facing my trauma and facing my lack of self-esteem, and all the other kind of problems that I had from childhood, I was just drinking, which I think a lot of us do. I'm a very shy person, and so drinking allowed me to be the life of the party and to get over my inhibitions and to really express myself. But unfortunately, I expressed myself in a way that I think was dissatisfying to other people, that was hurtful. Plus, people just, if a drunk is confessing their love to you and talking about how they really feel to you, you take it with a grain of salt and you don't really take it completely seriously because, when they're sober, are they really going to feel this way? And if they're not gushing and as passionate when they're sober, you can just kind of chalk it up to the alcohol. And I think that's what happened to me in a lot of my relationships. I would also, meet people and think I had these great connections with them. And then, later on, a week later, they were just like weird around me. I remember dating some girls and like wondering why they didn't want to see me again, even though I thought it went really well. And I didn't stupidly, this is a problem with addiction, is that you blame everything else except the addiction. And, it was all about the fact that I was just a drunk. And who wants to build a relationship with a drunk? It's just not a good foundation for either a friendship or a romantic relationship. My problem at the time is that most of my friends were my drinking buddies. So, of course, they were in the same boat. So I had this other group of people that, verified for me that, you can have friendships while drinking a lot. And you can totally have all this great friendships and connections with people, even though you're drinking. But you're also cutting yourself off to people who are not alcoholics. And so those lines, like back down in the alley looking for a time, I met a lover who became a friend of mine. Well, the friendship was really about that she cut it off with me romantically because she didn't want to be with a drunk. And that was a real act of friendship to set that boundary, not only for herself, but to expose that to me. I'd like to say that I quit drinking immediately after that happened, but definitely not. And then the lines, a man is made by tears he keeps, and if I could, I would weep. Well, I thought that alcohol was some kind of gateway into releasing these emotions. And I certainly did weep, and you can, if you want to see men weeping or especially women weeping, you just go to a bar, especially towards the end of the night, and people get very, very emotional. Some people get angry and they start fights and shouting or even get physical. Other people weep a lot. But that's very different than actually doing it in a sober state where you're actually getting to the bottom of what your issues are and what happened to you and why you're guarded, why you put up boundaries with people and you're afraid to be vulnerable. And so writing the song, even though it took me a while to understand what the song was telling me about myself, to myself, it really revealed to me that this was the number one problem in my life and my relationships. And, quitting drinking didn't solve all my problems, obviously, but it definitely stopped me from creating new ones and also destroying my health. And it's really hard to be a fully present person in the world and be there for other people if you are hungover all the time, either drunk or hungover. So that song definitely showed me that, whereas I was under this assumption for a long time that I could be a functional alcoholic and that, if people didn't like me, it was just their issues or they had some other hang up or they were just superficial people who cared about things that I didn't care about, like status and money. Not to say that there aren't people like that, but I think that what was going on was that, people might like me and they want to spend time with me, but once they realized the level of my drinking, that they didn't want to be a part of that. And so that's what was revealed through that song. And luckily I got it eventually and quit drinking. It definitely took a couple more years and becoming a father before it was really exposed to me. And then I was with another person who was also drinking a lot too, so that helped enable me to continue my drinking for longer. But once she was like, okay, this is enough, you know, I can't go this far with this, and you know, this is what you're doing to your life. So yes, and if you're being honest in your songs, even though you might have an addiction or have some very horrible habits, if you're being truly honest in your songwriting, then these things will reveal themselves to you, and you might get it right away and be able to make the changes necessary to grow and to become a better human being and be better for other people. Or it might take you some time, but the seeds have been planted once you write the song and it's out there. So be careful what, you know, the approach you take to your songwriting. Are you bullshitting yourself in your songs? Are you blaming other people? Really, a good songwriting session and a good song is a mirror for you to look at yourself and look at your habits in a lot of ways. That's not all it is, obviously, but I think if you're going to be a benefit to yourself and other people, that level of honesty is absolutely essential. So, very, very good question, Maya, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share about that and to really expose the benefit of that in songwriting. Okay. Well, best of luck, Maya, with your confessional songwriting, even though it doesn't have to be confessional. And if there's any follow-up questions, or if you feel like I didn't address what you were getting at completely, please put it down in the comments. And if anyone else has experiences with this, I'd love to hear from you, either putting it down in the comments, or you can send me a private message at tyler@musemeasure.com. All right. Best of luck, and take care.